Good morning. So, this morning I want to talk a little bit about, get in a little bit deeper about the twin flame journey and the transcending the twin and transcending the ego, which the twin flame journey brings us to a place where we have to transcend the ego in order to transcend the pain, because through the twin flame journey, there's so much pain and there's so much yearning and there's so much holding and there's so many expectations and wants and feeling of loss. It takes us through the full spectrum of our being as we know ourselves. It takes us through the full spectrum of our emotions and of our ego, because up until we came onto this journey, we had coping mechanisms which sit within the mind, right? These belief systems that we have in place, the programming that we have as a human being, as the meat body, as the avatar, which up until the spiritual awakening, we believe in a sense is us, two different levels, right? There's different levels of consciousness, different levels of awakening. Um, but as long as we are in the mind and in the ego, we are still not at the complete conscious level. And what happens is when we meet our twin flame, they start pushing us through our emotions and through our ego, and by way of reflecting ourselves back to ourselves, by way of these big emotions and the obsessive trying to figure it out with our mind. And we have to get to a point, and then we keep on going in loops because our ego, our mind, is trying to hold on to and grasp the situation. We're trying to, with every means, with all means that we have, we are trying to achieve union within the physical world, rather than understanding. Because when we rise into that spiritual place, when we rise into our temple, our inner temple, our alignment with God, our alignment with our highest self, our alignment with our soul, we realize that we are one. We are one energetic field. And in order to come into the realization of that oneness with your twin, you have to transcend the ego, which is the separateness, and that is the spiritual awakening. So you can see that the two are linked. In order to transcend your twin, you have to fully transition into the soul seat. That is why the twin flame journey pushes you through the spiritual awakening, because in order to transcend the pain, otherwise you're in that constant pain of separation. So it's the constant pain of separation from you and your twin is the same separation from you and the divine, because the connection with your twin is at the level of the divine, is at that energetic field, is at that higher state of consciousness. And then you see that you are always together, and then you also have that you have that telepathic connection with your twin, where you know what is going on with them. You can feel their energy, you can feel when to stay away, you can feel you can feel their energy. And it's not with your mind. You can translate it with your mind, but the energy field is something that is felt within. It comes from that divine higher level. So this in when we transcend our ego, we are also transcending our twin. We can use our twin flame connection to quantum leap in our spiritual awakening, because It gives you something in the physical realm to use as a catalyst, to use as a push-off point. So it's like the you can see it as you can liken it to an addiction. It's like coming off the most toxic, strong addiction that you have ever had to deal with, which is this at the same um, level as your addiction to your ego, your addiction to your sense of I, to your I'm important, I am separate, I am my own entity. It's the exact same connection because you're connecting to your other self, right? So it is the exact same as connection to your ego. You have to transcend your ego to transcend your other self as well. So it's all the same. It always comes back to the same point. And when you can see this, and when the pain is there to push you through, it's like when you're giving birth to a baby. At some point, your body takes over and you don't have a choice in it, because if you had a choice you might stop it because you just can't. That's what happens along this way, is that we get stuck in these loops because the pain is so bad that we start making excuses so that we don't have to go through the pain. We start making up all these stories of the connectiveness, and if I just did this, and if I just do this, and if I just, and it's all stories that are concocted in the mind, in the ego. And when you realize that this connection is not of the mind, it is not of the ego, you can never chase hard enough to catch, because you're chasing after your own tail. You're chasing after another physical expression of you. And so as long as you're chasing, you're in that scarcity mode. You're in the ego separateness. You are not in that ease of we are one and I can hold you. So when you start letting go of your twin, not only do you have that beautiful energy that you already feel like you can hold their energy. They can be over there doing laps and flipping upside down and like a fish out of water, and you can just hold that energy, and it comes from a place of pure love. If it's coming from a place of me, I'm in pain, you have to quench my pain, that is a place of the ego. That is putting off onto them your happiness. They don't want to hold your bags as they're going through their life. And as long as you are trying to grab, they're trying to push. And so it defeats the purpose. And so when you can realize this, and even if you have instances where you can chase and you sit in it and you just breathe through it, you allow yourself to go through that pain. It's like the physical advice that I could give for it, it's like holding your breath. It's like, okay, I feel that urge. I feel that want to chase. And right now I'm just going to sit in it and I'm going to allow it to pass. And as you take control of those emotions, those wanting to chase emotions, and you don't, and you sit in it and it passes, you start feeling powerful. It starts allowing you, but you do have to sit in it, right? To sit in it takes everything that you have in you, to sit in it and not run away from it, not run away from the pain, not try to find an out, not find some kind of way to disperse the pain by talking about it, going into some kind of addiction, playing a game, taking your mind off of it in some way, going to recreational drugs, alcohol, things like that. All of those things we do, going out dancing, anything that we do that is in that we know in our inner knowing, that is something that we're doing to run away, something that we're doing to take our mind or take our being away from that so that we can put the energy somewhere. Anything like that is counterproductive. We're not doing the work. So when you sit in the pain and you just say, okay, I'm breathing through it, and then you pull that energy back to yourself, and it's like holding your breath. And you'll see that the more you hold your breath, the more that you become a master of it, the more you transcend the need, and the more you feel powerful. Because once you do it and you understand the power in it and you see that you can do it, then you're pulling your strength back to yourself and you're seeing what you are made of and you're transcending it. And so, so transcending your own ego, which is the spiritual awakening, it's rising above your ego and taking control of the avatar and of your experience, and then you become the master creator of your life. You see, this twin flame journey is actually a blessing. And it's not even in disguise. It is a blessing. It will push you through your spiritual awakening into your higher self. At the end, you're getting the gift of you. And in the end, when you get that gift of you, as we go through this, we can get glimpses of this. So even as you're watching this, as you're perceiving what I'm saying, you're understanding that place where you're sitting in the master seat of your own life and the power that you feel in that place. And you become the grand creator of your own life and of everything that comes into your life. And you start seeing that everything that comes into your life, you have put there. Whether you've put it there subconsciously or whether you have become a creator of your own life and you see how you're creating this as you're going, it starts becoming a game and it starts becoming fun. And you start pushing your own self through these places of holding, because that becomes a game. Okay, I feel like chasing now. I'm going to hold my energy. Let's see how long I can hold my breath this time. And then you come into that power and you feel like a powerful being, when, especially when you're holding against that pull and that pain of the twin. And sometimes, you just have to go into that pain. That is what this journey is about. You have to go into the pain in order to transcend it. And then when you go into that pain, try to leave the thoughts out. Leave the thoughts out of it. Go into the pain and just sit in that. Just you can even go and lay down in bed and just squirm in it until that tunnel opens up for you, and then just go through that tunnel. That tunnel is bleeding you to the other side. And I know that the tunnel will appear a lot of times, and not always can we go through the tunnel because it's too scary. Our mind will pull us back. Our ego will pull us back away from it, from the fear. But the more you can practice of starting to go through that tunnel, it's like going through a birthing canal. I know it sounds like really, but what I'm understanding is that those in need of guidance need to hear these things, because these are things that we are all experiencing as a collective on this spiritual awakening, and through the pain of the twin flame journey. It really, the pain is I think that the journey is so detrimental, and those of us that are on the twin flame journey know this to be true. The pain is so intense that really it takes over your whole life. It takes over everything. It's something that whoever is going through it needs as much guidance to go through it as possible. That's why I'm also calling others that are on this journey. As you progress along the journey, you start feeling that you are you need to be in service as you progress. That it is the next stage of the spiritual awakening, is helping others and guiding others through the process. As you go through it as well, there's also value in it. So I'm still in the process of the transition, and I had a conversation with a friend who lives in Canada, and he's also on this twin flame journey. And one of the things was, can you practice what you preach? That was something that came up, is, well, how can you preach something if you're not? But I feel like along this journey, that there's so many stages in the journey, that as we begin to progress through it, we already have value to give to those that are going through it. And as you go through it, as you go through the stages, there's more value in bringing the stages forward because you are directly connected to the full emotional journey. You can get into the smallest resolutions as you solve them, and as you go through them, you can see those tiny resolutions. Whereas when you're already through the whole journey, you look back and you see it as you can give a whole roadmap to it, but it's going to be more topical. Whereas when you are in the depths of it, you can see the fine details and what it's coming to teach you. And it's kind of like as you go along, you can lay down a roadmap to the different stages and the overcoming, and also bring kind of it's like first of all, it's so complex because it takes every single aspect of your being, of the human experience is involved in this. You're transcending the entire human experience into something that is an up level. You're up leveling the human experience into a complete new way of looking at things. And as you transcend it, you see that it's so much bigger than the individual. It's not just about me and my twin, or me and my counterpart and the pain of it, the pain. It's actually raising the vibration of the planet. We are connected to the energy of the planet, and we are, it's kind of like beyond us as well as through us and part of us. So it's everything together. It's way bigger than us. We are just one little part and one little aspect of it. And all of us are connected together through this energy and through this transition that the whole planet is going through. So, sending you guys so much love. Thank you for watching. Sending you lots of strength on this journey. I know how deep this journey is. So, thank you. Until next time.